For this year's International Women's Day, we look at the link between the ongoing talent shortage and the experience of working mothers.
If you're struggling to get candidates for your open roles, you aren't alone. Our Hiring Pulse report shows a drop in the candidates per hire metric every single month in 2021.
And there's one possible reason for that, out of many. Workable's Great Discontent survey found that 26% of women in the US aren't working, compared with just 15.3% of men. In the UK, 14.5% of women aren't working, compared with just 6.1% of men.
And 17.7% of women are working just part-time, compared with the 8.6% of men. In the UK, 31.3% of women are working part-time, compared with 13% of men. So what's going on? There's a whole world out there outside of work that pressures women to cut back on their work commitments. Let's look at that survey again. Of American women not working, 39.4% said it was because of family commitments, compared with just 19.3% of men.
In the UK, 6 times as many women as men pointed to family commitments as the reason they're not working. The pandemic, well, is a part of it, of course.
The virus is increasing the burden of unpaid care. And I think the problem is, as women, we are essentially burdened with childcare. And it's a case of, especially in the United Kingdom at the moment, we are in a lockdown, schools are off, and lots of women are trying to work as well as homeschool.
In the beginning of the pandemic, you got to remember, schools and daycares were closed. So it was, I've got to tutor, I got to teach my kids, I've got to tutor them, or I've got to take care of this small child and go to work. I obviously can't do both. If my child is daycare age 1 year old, they're not going to let me be on this Zoom call. They're not going to let me work. They're going to want to play and do things like that.
But this goes beyond the pandemic. The challenge is endemic, and employers need to take note.
We need to address this as employers, and we need to find out, how can we support women in the workplace? A lot of them are, trying to work and also to look after childcare.
There's a lot of talk about work-life balance, but work-life balance for working mothers is not sustainable. There's too much stress on the balancing point itself, so something's got to give.
What steps do we need to readdress to actually ensure that women don't have to lose their jobs because they have the increased childcare burden?
Many employers shifted to a flexible work model, which does help.
I'm very fortunate. I have a company that allows a very flexible schedule. We're going to be remote basically forever at this point. I've been given the green light to continue working remotely 100%.
But even a flexible work environment doesn't help as much as we'd like to think. The problem still persists. According to Lean In's Women in the Workplace report for 2021, 55% of working mothers who are the only mother in the room say they felt more burnt out, and 51% say they worry about being seen as less committed when working remotely. The pressure at both ends can take its toll.
Now I can take care of these things in between Zoom calls, and that's why it's the need of that flexibility. But some have just said, I'm just not able to handle it all anymore. And I have sacrificed my family, I've sacrificed my own health for my career, and I can't handle both.
So it's almost as if the workplace has become a no woman's land. Mothers can't bring their full selves to work, or even to their families. They need to make a compromise somewhere. But that can be made different and better if employers act proactively. Some are, in fact.
And some aren't. According to a survey by Magnify Money earlier this year, nearly a quarter of working women say their employer hasn't been supportive of childcare issues that have arisen amid the pandemic. That's double the percentage of men who say the same, 23% versus 11%.
I don't think everyone feels that they have that support either at their previous employer, so they're not looking to go back to that place because they don't think it's going to be feasible. And I don't know how many of them are encouraged that enough companies are taking it upon themselves to provide some of these programs and tools and features that working mothers now see more as a necessity or a requirement as opposed to an extra benefit.
There are numerous creative ways you can support working mothers. Thinking of parental support as a core benefit rather than a nice to have.
Establish a childcare in or near your workplace, either independently or in partnership with others in your business location. Include childcare support as an optional benefit. Give greater flexibility in work location and schedule. Establish a supportive and empathetic working culture.
Those are just a few, of course, but the real message is this. Don't force your employees, especially those who are working mothers, to make concessions between work and home. Enable them to bring their best selves to both lives.
It'll speak volumes for your commitment as an employer, for your employer brand, and it'll result in more candidates knocking at your door.